We are both recording.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this. What is this? What is this called? Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Amy and I. We wanted to come back to you today and do another video because the last video we did was very successful. It was really popular, where we talked about the inner goddess. We talked about loving yourself, loving your body, hence why we like to come to you naked. So that we are free. So today in this video, we're going to be talking about connecting to spirit guides. And this is, this is incorporated well because I'm doing a webinar where I'll be doing a meditation with you to get you to go under and be able to connect to your guides and connect to your angels, or whoever comes through the door at the time. So if you guys would like to participate in that, there's a few spots left, so you guys can click on the link below and you can join and we will see you there. But we wanted to do a video today to help you understand how we connect. Not necessarily how, but how it feels. Because I do think that some people, and this is myself as well, like I would hear people go, oh, I see this angel and I see this, and I'm like, I can't do any of that. But then that's not my gift. I'm not clairvoyant. I don't see things. I hear things and I feel things and I get shown things. So it really is like we were talking about last time, like connecting to the energy in a way that suits you. Like I get messages in really random ways, and when we were talking last week, you
like
got them in
the like this little ding ding.
So we just wanted to, I think we see things and we hear things the same way. Yeah. And I thought if we could have a conversation about it, people can understand. Because actually most people are channeling, they don't realize. Most people are getting messages they don't realize because it's not the way they think it should look.
Yes.
Right? They don't, right. So I'm going to let you, well, first of all, one thing because we were having a conversation as friends last week, and we were saying one of the ways that, and this took me a long while to grasp this, one of the ways that I get shown guidance is they show me something that's happened to me in my past, in this life. And when I first started getting the messages, I got a bit worried because I thought, am I just channeling my own stuff and sending it out to people? But it's not. It's that they're choosing the easiest way for me to see, because I connect with that moment and the energy of it, and then I portray it to that person. So say, for example, they were asking about what they should do in a situation. My guides will make me feel, or they'll show me a time when I was really stuck and I did a meditation to get out of it. And I'll say to them, okay, you need to do this type of meditation.
Yes.
That will help you go out, right? Like they show you things like that.
Yeah, totally. So I get people who are like, have you been psychic like this your whole life? Have you been special, or has this been a gift, forever? And I just kind of laugh and I say, no, I didn't even know that I was.
That's right.
And in fact, I had, when I first started the podcast, I had my producer say, Amy's been working on this for 20 years. And, because it's been that long that I was like, I wish I could talk to my spirit guides. I wish that I, like, other people talk to angels and things. And I just kind of wish that would be so cool, like to be able to, I don't know,
Yeah.
about it for like 20 years, and I lived in a haunted house, and I was like, gosh, I sure wish I knew what was going on around here. The water's turning on by itself, and there are things happening, but like I don't see anything, so it's been like 20 years or more that I've wanted to do this. And I even went through a phase of having like, I went through a very Christian stage. It was non-denominational, but very, very strict. And they did not believe in doing this. And now I kind of laugh at that, because I'm like, well, what do you think the Holy Spirit is? That's your intuition. That's you listening to God's voice within. So now I'm kind of laughing, going, well, you guys are trying to like shut off our very nature. But
yeah,
I believe that we're all capable, and I believe all intuitive beings. That's who we are. That's what, we're capable of healing. We're capable of any of it. Some people say like, being called a healer is like this big honor, and only, it's just like, no, just be a healer. Like,
yeah.
But it's not that big of a deal, or all that special. But I will say that as I went along, and as I actually started to become really good at what I do, I started to realize that I'd been doing it all along. Like you said, I didn't even notice, or didn't even know. Some of it is so subtle that you're not even aware that you're doing it. And now it's like, I just call it different terms. Like sometimes I'll say, well, they just told me, but in actuality, they showed me, or I saw the words pass in front of them, or things like that. But because I'm more tuned in now, I'm paying better attention. That's the only difference between who I was then and who I am now, is now I pay attention to subtle things. So as things cross my path, or I see a light over here, I see this over here, it's like, I see, I hear, I feel. In the way that we describe it to others, it starts to become, when you hang out in church, it's just like, I'm filled with the Holy Spirit, or thank you, Jesus. And you have the lingo. When we become psychics, it becomes like, I hear, or they say, or there's all this terminology, but in actuality, it's coming to us in just a subtle way that's very difficult to describe sometimes.
Yeah. Because it's an energy, isn't it? It's very difficult to put a word on energy. It's just a feeling. It's like, if I'm doing a reading or something for someone that's got their heart closed, I'll feel physical pain, because as an empath, I struggle with that one quite a lot, because when I'm around loads of people, I'm like, oh, it really is. It's painful. But then they're telling me it's not part of who I am, it's part of that person. And they give me the message by showing me physically. But I get the words as well, like you do. Like when I used to do my twin flame, I used to clear energy from twin flames, and I'd run my hands like in my meditation over them. I'd say, what's blocking them? They would just give me these words. They would just come out, like fear, stubborn. I started to trust it, because they started to give me words, and I think I have no idea what that word means. And I'd Google it, and I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. That's profound to me. I've never heard that word, but when I read the description, it matches perfectly to why someone wouldn't want to be with their twin, like the energy of it. So I think that I kind of feel like that energetic realm, they're going to support you and start showing you things to make you realize that you're not crazy, or that you are, because I will get messages, and I'll think, like when I'm doing a reading to someone one-to-one, and they'll show me something, and I'll just say, look, if I don't tell them what I'm seeing, they show it, they keep showing it to me, and I can't push it away. So I'll say, look, I don't know why, but I'm seeing, I don't know, a mouse. Something really random that makes no sense, and they'll go, oh my God, I just bought a little pet mouse, or I just watched Cinderella, or something like, just so they're saying to me, Laura, you're tapped in, and they're saying to that person, she's tapped into your energy, you can trust her. All the information that's going to come forward now is accurate. So they kind of play around with you as well, and get you to trust, and get the person to trust if you're channeling for someone.
Well, and they talk in your code, in your language. Yeah. So however that is for you, and whatever you're like naturally drawn to or attracted to or whatever. I learned Qigong before all of this too. So when I did that, they knew to use colors, so like when I look at the body, I see these different colors, and the colors mean different things. And as I start to like pull the energy out of the person, it either feels tacky, or it like shoots out, or maybe it leaves an indentation, or like all these different things that it does, how it interacts with me as I'm working on it gives me all these clues as to what's going on. But it really is, I mean, wouldn't you say it's a guessing game whenever you're talking to someone and all of this, you're just like, this is what I see. I don't know why I'm seeing this necessarily. It might mean to you, but I'm seeing a bouncing ball.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, well, that's because, you know, and they'll know.
Yeah.
It's, you know, so it's like, it becomes like this kind of excitement working with the other side. It's like, well, I see this, and then it resonates with them. And then it's just like this back and forth that becomes, it feels so natural. And, but I mean, there are like, once you've tuned into seeing things in that subtle world, you start to see things more obviously, more clearly too. Like, you know, like there was one time I was walking to work and my unicorn was walking beside me. And for me, it was so uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh, if somebody, hi, honey. I got Yogi here. I'm babysitting him. Here, I'll show you guys for just a second. Isn't he sweet?
Oh, he's so cute. Fluffy.
He's a cuddle boy.
Baby. Oh, you have to keep the video. Oh, he's so sleepy. That's what I would do. If I was someone's pet and someone picked me up, I would just be like, oh, just.
So basically he so I'm walking with this unicorn down the street, and I felt self-conscious because it was that real to me. I was like a big white horse walking down the street. So, you know, so when we become that sensitive to it, then it becomes a more obvious thing, you know. And like one time it was really cute. I was being really hard on myself for having some extra weight, and I was like, I don't know. I was feeling really sad that night. I don't remember what was going on. It was a couple of years ago. And all of a sudden, I heard this tiny little, he's squirming all over the place right now. And he, so I was in my room and I was like, oh, and all of a sudden I heard this little tiny voice that said, we love you.
Oh.
And I was like, you know, what? I was like, oh my God, that was a fairy. And I started crying because I was like, oh, sweet. And it was just right at that moment. It just really touched me, right? I was, and like one morning I woke up and I was just kind of, like, been a couple mornings that I've woken up and there's been strange things that happen. Like, I don't know about if this happens to you, but like one morning I was like, I wonder how many guys are around me when I wake up. I just had that question in my head. And I look around and I was like, oh my gosh.
Quite a few.
Are they always there? Are there always so many? And they're like waiting for me to wake up. Like that's a big moment. It's like, oh my gosh.
I think because I've done that before when I've woken up and just suddenly felt all these energies around me. But then I do ask for protection while I sleep. So I suppose like that's you're asking for it maybe, but they're always there. Like people say, I hear people say, oh my God, you know, sometimes I feel really lonely. It's like I've got no one. Trust me, you have a lot of people around you all the time.
What? And they're on the edge of their seats. They're on the edge of their seats for you to make any little decision.
Yeah.
Especially when you make a breakthrough or an epiphany or have an epiphany, they're like, is she going to do it? Is she going to do the time when
she's like, with popcorn, like, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it?
Yeah, it's like you could hear a pin drop. Everybody's like,
yeah, I think that's why, you know, when you have that epiphany, that moment, that's why you feel it in your, what I do, I feel it in my body. I'm like, oh my God, I just realized something. And you get all these goosebumps up your body. I feel like it's them going, yay, she figured it out. Yes. Okay, on to the next thing. So it's like they have a little celebration for you when you have all these milestones.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of the things that like affirm things for us, because you were talking about, and I really resonated with this thing about they use our own experiences, and even like for me, I have all these readings back to back, like at the lighthouse, and they'll start correlating to one another.
Yeah.
So something that this person says will apply to like two people later.
Yeah.
I'll know the answer because it just said this to this person that just happens to answer this. And it's just like, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
just kind of play around with that, and it ends up hitting the bullseye every time. It's like when you learn to trust the flow of the synchronicities, and it's like they'll like you said, like you'll read a book or something like that, and then you'll see yourself reading the book again, and you'll go, oh, then you'll bring up the book that you just read or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it. And I remember when I first started doing this, because I thought I was doing something wrong, because I would get like 3 readings in a row and they would show me the same thing. I'm like, well, I'm just channeling the same thing for all these people. But actually, it's that I have a message and I'm attracting the people that need to hear that specific message.
Yes.
Because I always find that when I have an epiphany, like if you watch my videos, because I've probably got 2 years worth of videos. If you watch them, I learn things in different stages, and all the people that were learning that would come to me and I teach them. Like right now, I'm very much into like the goddess energy, loving yourself, putting love out there, and I'm attracting the people that are in that phase as well. So so to me at the beginning, it was like, oh, these messages are all the same, and then I realized, no, I have this within me, and the universe is like, right, people need to hear that, so let's send the people that need to hear that to her.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to like understand that, but they'll show me. Yeah, they'll show me
like you'll get a bunch of elbows in the same week, knees, arms. I mean, you can see that in the chiropractic world, or that doctors will all have a bunch of heart attacks the same week and things like that too.
Yeah,
that's how life works. These cycles. But
exactly, it's
I get goosebumps, and sometimes like tingling on the top of your head, or sometimes I get like a rippling through the temples. What other things do you get that are kind of like, yeah, I'm right on as you go along? I mean, just so people understand, go through it too.
The two, probably like similar to what you said, the 2 main things I get. The first one is the goosebumps. So I did a channeled message today from Archangel Zadkiel, and I channeled that on the way home from the gym, and I was just thinking in my head, I was like thinking, and then suddenly I thought, oh my god, it's this, and I felt these goosebumps go all the way down my body, and I was like, oh my god, I'm channeling, there's a message, and I could feel this energy. Oh my god, this is amazing, and I can feel it. It feels so exciting when you get a message, because they're speaking to you, there's so much unconditional love that it feels like someone's like sending love all down your body, like there's just goosebumps. So I love that when I get that. And then the crown. So I get like tingling on the top of the head. When I used to channel like Max and my spirit guides, I used to get tingling. Now that I've started channeling more archangels, I'm still learning to be able to handle all that information. I was doing a channeling with me and Queen of Light yesterday, we were talking on the phone, and it was giving me such a headache. It really did. I said to her in the end, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I have a migraine now. Because it's such a different energy, isn't it? It's even higher, it's even more light. So it was literally hurting my head. But I knew that it was messages coming through to me, because all this energy goes through the top of your head. So important that we protect the crown chakra. We all ask for protection of the crown, just because there's so much light there. There's so much information there. I always ask for protection now. But yeah, that's my main thing, goosebumps and my head. And when I first started out, I used to get pulsating temples. Like when I meditate, I feel them pulsating, and I also get pulsating in my third eye. I don't really get it anymore, but when I first started, when it was opening, I would do a meditation, and I'd try and channel, and I'd feel like a pulsing on my third eye.
Totally. Well, and I think we can ask them to tweak their energy to match ours too, because I've heard them all going off at the same time before in readings. Sometimes I'm so excited I can hear or feel or sense 10 ideas coming at me at the same time. And I'll just for a minute, and I'll just be like, you guys need to come to a consensus and put that one idea in my head.
Yeah, we can do that. Because I think I learned that from Doreen Virtue. I read her angel book when I first had my awakening. And she said, if you hear something too loud, or, sometimes you hear the frequency, sometimes you hear that buzzing. It's like, I can't understand that. So with my headache yesterday, I asked Archangel Raphael to heal it, which he did. And then I said to him, okay, next time, can we go different? Because I want to be able to hear you, but I also can't have headache. So today when I channeled in the car, I didn't get a headache. And it came through to me a lot clearer. So they've adjusted it for me.
Perfect. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we can just ask them and work with them. I asked, before I went to bed at 10:30, and I said to Archangel Michael, please protect me while I sleep, and please wake me up at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock, I woke up, opened my eyes, I thought, what time is it? Put my phone up, 7 o'clock. Perfect, thank you, Michael. Let's turn the light on. Let's get the kettle on. Because I like to wake up when it's still dark. To me, the moon, I connect to the moon. But yeah, we can ask them for anything, and they will, if you get to believe, though.
Okay, so I think this will help too. Like sometimes, okay, two things, and they are regarding memory. Okay, so a lot of the visions that I get seem like a memory. They may not be memory, but you can think of the way that you typically remember things, like, oh, remember when we were kids and we did this and that and the other thing? That's like the visions that I get. It's as clear as detached from the history from way back or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not like it's playing out right here, right now, real vivid. It's more like I'm having a memory of it, but it is live. And then also, I think sometimes people don't realize that when you that mechanism of remembering, when you go, oh, I need to unplug the pot, or I need to unplug the such and such. That's actually, for me, I no longer call that, I just remembered that. It's not remembering.
Yeah. It's someone just told you.
Yes. Yes. So that, I think that is the most common form of intuition people use all the time and don't even know that they're using it.
Yeah.
It's memory. It's steering you in that direction. Or try this. The next time that you lose something, just ask, where is it, you guys? Like, imagine the image, like, imagine, just be like, a cell phone cord. Where is it? And then just feel where that, and then you'll be given an image of your suitcase. Mm-hmm. Or you'll be, or you'll see it plugged into an outlet. And then you'll go, oh, again, that's not your memory. That's them helping you out. But if you can learn to kind of harness that to get a feel for that type of thing by using it on a regular basis like that, then you'll get a feel for that. And you can ask questions like, can I trust this person? Hmm. You can ask other questions about other things going on in your life, and you could use it the same way. And you might get a flashback when you ask that of your narcissistic ex. And you'll go, ooh, okay, that's what they're up to. Or they'll give you like some kind of a flash of somebody who's just warm and loving and puppy dog. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, I could totally.
Sometimes they show me movie scenes as well. I ask a question in the movie scene. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They'll show you, they use your own memory and your own, how you see things, how you've gone through life. They use you as a way to communicate, because it's the easiest way.
Yeah.
I do that.
How else?
Like, they'll show me a scene from a movie where they're in a certain room, and I'm like, oh, it's in my living room.
Yeah.
Or,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing that was kind of helpful to me too, to learn, and I don't know what your system is, and everybody can have in fact, you can make up your own system. You can say, I decided I'm getting tingling right now on the top of my head. So for me, it's like it's really intense. This is like itching.
Ask them to turn it down.
Turn it down. So they're like laughing. I feel them laughing. So my right, if I get ringing in my right ear, that means that it's like a spirit or a spirit guide or a person who's passed away, something like that. It's more like a human being.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, if I get ringing, then it's an angel, an archangel usually.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask, okay, well, which angel? And then I get the name written in front of my face.
See, when I ask, I get the color.
Or the color, yep.
Yeah, so if we get blue, I'm like, it's Michael. And it doesn't even have to be the color that people say. It's the color that you assign. Like,
yeah,
doesn't. I mean, for me, Michael is blue, Raphael is green, Chamuel is pink. Like, it's whatever. But normally I can see like a flash of color, or I just feel the color, which is I don't even know how to describe that, but I just feel blue, or I feel green. I just feel the color me. I don't even know how to explain that.
Yeah. Or the person that you're talking to, they start to take on that color.
Yeah.
I'll be looking at somebody and I'll go, oh, because I'll see a blue
green.
I'm like, Michael has something to say to you. And then I'll,
Yeah.
Michael, what's going on? And then I can get, like, I've practiced automatic writing for a long time too. So I can get like sentences sometimes, or sometimes the whole idea is just downloaded, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or, I don't remember what I was going to say. I was supposed to say it apparently.
That does happen though. That happens when I'm going to say something, like it literally just vanished. It's literally that they're still like, no, we're not going there. Blank the memory. Like Men in Black.
Or how about this? How about mistakes not being mistakes?
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll slip up and say something in a reading.
Yeah.
That's the wrong word or the wrong something, and then I've learned to depend on that. I look at it like that was not a mistake.
Yeah.
I'll say something like, "Oh, if she accidentally gets pregnant or something," I'll go, "Ooh, someone's pregnant." Or but those slip ups that you make in those readings, they are nuts.
I did that today. I did a reading an hour ago, and I pulled out a card, and it was the vice versa tarot. So you got like an image on each side of the card, you know. And I was like, we had the fear card here, but it's in reverse. So it's like the fear. No, I thought it was the strength card. I was like, the strength is there. You know, this situation is going to bring you strength, but you're not there yet. And then when I looked at the card, I was like, this isn't the strength card. This is the temperance card. And I just thought, but you know what? We're going to own that. What I just said with the message about strength, that's there for someone. I'm not going to retract that. It came out for a reason. So,
and like, even when you're dealing with cards and stuff like that, right? You don't have to have a particular system. People can be so particular. You have to cut the card deck 2-3 times, and then you have to spin it around, and then you have to like do everything. And it's just like, this is what a deck looks like, right? All you really do have to do is just like open it up. And it doesn't even matter. You can do so many different. Oh my gosh, this is so funny.
Which card is it?
Be gentle with yourself.
Oh, I like that.
Like, don't be so particular. Like, you've been through a lot and need time to heal and recover.
Exactly. I think that's one of the biggest. Because my sister, she does tarot, and she sometimes struggles because she'll be like, "But Laura, you read the cards like this. And you know what the cards mean." I'm like, yeah, but you don't read like that.
Yeah.
She'll put out like 20 cards, look at it and be like, this is how I feel. That's how you read. Own it. Like, don't exactly. Someone else. You know, if you don't want to cut the cards in 3, then don't. If you don't want to shuffle them in 4, then don't. Do what works for you. It doesn't matter. I just always say to people, I always ask for protection for the reading. I try to anyway. I do a prayer in the morning when I wake up, asking for protection of my light and everything like that. And then before I go to bed, I ask for it again, and that's it. So I always protect myself because I start to get, because of the energies that come in. That's the only thing I say to people: try and do that as much as you can. But that's it.
Yeah, and like yesterday, I did a spread for my closest friends, and I just had like. I had like 3 oracle card decks over here, and then I had a pile of tarot cards. And basically, all I did was just randomly selected cards out of each of those 3 decks and made like 3 or 4 piles, depending on what I was told. And then I just made sure that there were oracle cards, 1, 2, or 3 of every one of the oracle cards in each pile. And then if I looked at the oracle cards and it wasn't a real clear message, then I would choose some tarot cards to clarify.
Yeah.
And then it became a pretty clear message. It was pretty awesome, right? And it was completely, totally random. There was no system to it. And it's more like, I found also, like, when you're using cards, one thing that could be kind of fun to experiment with is like, take the cards and then put a card down. And then you feel okay about putting the card down. Put the card down, put the card down, put the card down, put the card down. And you might go, and then you'll look at it. Okay, so this is divine life purpose. Trust the signs and your inner guidance, which are leading you to fulfillment. I mean, Just step up. You guys saw that I wasn't even messing with the cards, you know? But you do that. You just keep get a feel for that. And then just the cards, the energy will work with you and you can feel it as you go. There doesn't have to be any kind of a system. They'll use anything. They'll use, I don't know, stuff that falls on the floor. They'll use a penny and a dime being on the floor as a sign, or the way that something is tilted and barely hanging on and about to fall off of a shelf, or they'll make it fall off the shelf, it's unlimited. It's really unlimited if we can just open our minds and not be gentle on ourselves.
Exactly.
So regimented. I know that I think that's what's hard for masculines too, because masculines are so
structured.
Yeah. And it has to be like all in order and all by number and it's just like when you're being intuitive or feeling into things like that, you have to learn to just kind of open up.
Because I do think that I more like you said at the beginning of the video, I think most people, if not everyone, does this. They just don't realize that they're doing it. And all you have to do is listen to it and feel it, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger until you get to the point where you're really confident in what you're bringing forward. And everything, once you get to that energy, everything's a message. Literally everything's a message.
Yes.
And it might seem crazy to other people, but literally all throughout your day, like, oh yeah, that's because of that. And you start seeing things like blueprints, and you start like tapping, like you start to get like a map of things, and you start to see things, because you're literally everything I do is like, oh, I needed to do that. I thought I could do that. And and it's just part of who I am now. It's never going to go away, but it's just allowing it to unfold. Some people, I guess, and I was one of them, you want to dive straight in and be able to hear them straight away, and you're impatient. I was impatient. I was trying to get the messages, and then eventually, as I just let it happen, it got stronger, and now it's part of who I am. Like, it was never my sister was asking for advice the other week, and it was like 7 a.m, and I gave her my deep, profound advice. She's like, Laura, it's 7 a.m, let's just tone it down a little bit. But to me, that's exactly how I talk. We were laughing about it, but that's how I talk. Like, if someone asks for my advice, I'm not just going to say, oh, you should go and do that. I think I would be like, here's my advice, and I'll tap into every single thing that they're showing me and everything. It's like I'm quite a deep person now, but I never used to be. But now it's just part of who I am, and I can't change. It's not going anywhere. So we just have to keep trusting it and keep letting it grow.
Yeah, and there may be certain things that you say on a regular basis to everyone, like trust the flow, trust in divine timing, and things like that. But you can also, like as a reader, as you're reading people and giving them advice, for me, I get like a yes will rise as I'm saying it, or as I'm saying a certain word, like we'll talk about like, I don't know, recovery, like that word just came up in the card. So be like, should I go through recovery? Should I go through rehab? Should I go through something like that? And when they say the word, or I say it, the word pops out or raises up to me or does something like that. Or, they'll keep steering you in that world. But one thing that you could practice, in terms of like, it's really much about not making everything so much about your form, your physical world, learning how to tune into the subtleties of life. So if you can be having a conversation like you and I are talking right now, but can we also be aware that there are a lot of people also watching this right now, not at this moment, but when this comes out, there'll be people watching. We be aware of that energy. Can we be aware that there's a cat laying on the table next to me? Can we be aware that there is, there's a bathroom in your background? There's, it's like, while you're talking to someone, can you also be aware of other physical things that are there that you can't see? And also, can you be aware of maybe the feeling?
Yeah.
It's happening between the two of you. Or can you be aware of the ambiance and the atmosphere and the environment that you're in? Try to tune in while you're talking to someone and don't get so enthralled in whatever you're doing physically that you lose touch with what's going on out here. Can you feel the vibration in your body? Can you feel the aliveness in your body and your cells like vibrating and being excited? And can you feel that while you're talking to someone, your blood pressure is rising? Or can you feel that your heart's beating faster? Or can you see that you're more relaxed when you're talking to that person? Try to sense like all your five senses whenever you talk to someone or do something. And even when you're walking around, think of yourself as like Superman or Superwoman.
Yeah, because I think if you, like you say, if you listen to your body all the time, it will tell you exactly what you need to know. Like I can be around certain people and I think I have a stomach ache, or I feel like I can't breathe because that person gets anxiety, or there's something going on in that person's life, or I get push and pull. So if they say to me, should I do this? If it's a no, I'll feel like a pull back like that. I feel like someone's pulling my body. I'm like, no, don't do it. And then it's up to them if they do it, because a lot of the time they do, and that's fine. And then they'll email me and go, oh, I did that thing you told me not to do. And I'm like, right, now we've got to figure out that bit. But it's like, to me, it's a real guidance saying no, or I'll feel really light and I'll feel like I can run. And then I'll know that I can say to the person, yeah, go for it. Yeah. So it's that push and pull energy, and like that feeling, if I'm around someone whose energy is off to me, I feel like I'm being pushed to the ground, and I feel like I'm stuck in mud. I can't move forward because they've got lower energy, and they're maybe even pulling my energy. So you kind of feel like if you spend time with them, like even half an hour, you leave feeling really tired and really exhausted and really drained. So you have to listen to your body, and you have to say, and you have to honor it as well, and take steps, I guess, to, like, if I know people that I feel really drained after I speak to you, I'll say to myself, okay, we're going to maybe, if I'm not supposed to spend time with that person, let them leave my life experience, and then I'll trust that I won't really hear from them much. And they'll kind of pick it up, right? So you can work with it and ask. You don't have to ever be scared of like, oh, now I can feel that. Now I know that everyone's in a bad place. Well, that's okay. You don't have to be in their life, and they don't have to be in yours. You can ask for protection. You can ask for them to leave. But you have to know who these people are before, and people that you do like and that you do connect with, you can ask them to be in your life more, you know?
That was confirmation. Ding.
Yeah, I know. Well, so it's like, ding, ding. So it's just listening to everything.
Yes. Yeah. And yes.
Someone's having a happy time on my website, apparently. Someone's buying stuff.
Well, there's also like, okay, so people, a lot of people who are resonating with this are like, well, but I'm empathic and I pick up on other people's feelings all the time, and a lot.
Yeah, it's tough. I get it
right now. Okay, so they're saying that this is like important for people to realize.
Okay.
If you are feeling feelings, don't just assume that they're your feelings necessarily either. Ask yourself, be discerning, and ask yourself, could this be the person that I'm interacting with right now? Am I feeling their feelings? Or why am I, like, if you're not normally agitated and irritated and anxious or any of that, like if it doesn't feel like something that you normally feel, don't go, oh, I must have a cold, or, oh, I must have, don't just assume that it's you. Stop for a moment and just ask yourself, who is this? Like, what am I feeling? Who am I feeling?
Yeah.
It seems a little bit off for what you normally are. And I know that's hard to catch. It takes being
practice,
alert. But, because so many of us, I know in my past, I used to just believe everything that I was feeling and thinking, and everything was me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but now it's kind of like, whoa, okay, who is that? And then when you ask that, you'll get an answer. You'll get a name, or you'll think of the person or something like that.
Or something.
Yeah, and the minute you do, you just let it go, and you just go, oh, that's not mine. And when you say that's not mine, you shrug it off.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being aware of it.
Yeah, I used to be the same when I met my twin. I would go through pain and depression a little bit, and it wasn't connected to me. It was as my gifts were opening. And I used to really struggle. I think, my God, why am I feeling depressed today? I have no reason to feel like that. Why? And it actually caused me more pain, thinking it was mine, because I didn't understand how to get rid of it and why I had it. But as soon as you realize it's not yours, it kind of leaves. And for me, I always know if it's not mine, because it comes on really suddenly. I know I don't get anxiety. I know I don't get fearful. I know I'm quite healthy. So if I ever feel like really anxious, or I feel like, oh, I'm really scared, or if I get really lonely, like if I feel really alone, that is not me, because like we said, I'm surrounded by people, by spirits, by angels. I'm never alone. So I know that if ever I feel really low, it can go on for a while. I know that's not me. That's just not. And I'll know pretty much who it is. Obviously, as twin flames, we tend to feel their energy as well, which we talked about before. But I know it's not part of who I am. If I start to get fidgety when I'm around someone, then I know that they're anxious or there's something wrong. But it's tough because you can't really tell them. You can't go up to strangers and go, oh, by the way, you have anger issues that you need to deal with. Like, you can't just go up, you can't do that, but you can feel it. And if you're empathic, like what we are, if you do get into a bit of an upset with someone, it's very easy to pick up on all their anger and then throw it back at them. Because like I used to get like that with my twin. If we were having a fallout, I'd be like, oh, I'm so annoyed. But I don't get annoyed. It takes a lot to annoy me. And I don't really get annoyed because I don't like the feeling of it. So I'm like, if it's a problem, we'll deal with it, or we'll just leave it. There's no point getting agitated about it. I rarely get angry. But if you're having a fallout with someone or you're having a disagreement, it's very easy to pick up on their energy if they're annoyed, and then you get annoyed, and then it becomes a big problem. So it's really important that we know when it's ours and when it's not, so that we can harness it. I went shopping with my sister on Christmas Eve, was absolutely fine. I drove there, 10-minute drive. I was singing in the car. I was perfectly happy. As soon as I got to the car park, I drove around it for about 2 minutes, couldn't get space. And I got really angry. I was like, then people started taking my spaces, like I was going to go in there, and someone took it, and I was getting so angry. And my sister rang me and she's like, where are you here? And I was like, I'm going to go home. I can't stay here. I'm so annoyed. I'm just going to go. I can't get space. I'm just going to. And she's like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I think people are like doing their last minute Christmas shopping and they're standing in long queues and they can't get spaces and they're frustrated and they can't afford these things. And I'm just picking up on probably about 1,000 people's Christmas frustration and last minute shopping, because this was Christmas Eve, and it felt horrible. And I knew it wasn't mine, because that feeling in me is not something I recognize anymore, because I just don't go there. I don't get angry at things or people, because I don't put myself into situations where I would get angry, to be honest. I don't like how it feels within me. So I was like, this is not me. And as soon as like she came and found me after about 20 minutes, when I found the space, she came and found me. She gave me a crystal that she happened to have on her, and after about 10 minutes it went, and I was okay. But that was really tough. And I went into a coffee shop about an hour later, and I sat down and I was like, there is someone in here, this is pretty morbid now, but I was like, there's someone in here that actually doesn't want to be here anymore, that they actually would take their own life. There's someone sat in this cafe that wants to do that. And I felt this lonely, I started crying, and I felt like I don't want to be here anymore. And I was like, that's not me. So these feelings that you don't recognize within yourself, it's so important that we see that they're not ours, so that we don't own them. Because when you own them, in your head, it's like, what's wrong with me? And then you're trying to figure out a problem that has no answer, because it isn't yours, and then it messes you up even more.
Totally.
So tough being an empath, feeling that stuff. It was horrible. I had crystals everywhere for me. I always have like any black crystal, like I always have it with me to protect me, because
me too.
I can't. Yeah.
I've got rocks and crystals always in my pants and around me and everywhere.
In your bra. Yeah, always. Shoes, bra, pockets, hairband. I've always got that with me. I found that black hematite is my crystal personally. That gives me the most protection. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
What about like I was trying to think of what else would be helpful to people who are trying to hear, like have more confidence in their intuition. And the thing I can think of too is that like listening to those hunches and saying things when you're prompted to say them.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll be somewhere and you'll feel like, oh, I really need to, you'll feel almost a real push.
Someone's pushing, like you will go.
Yeah, who do you think is pushing you? And that has to be a good thing, because it's from spirit, right? So if you're feeling that pressure to apologize, say something, laugh, whatever it is, do it. And then what happens, see how great it turns out when you listen. And like call that person, like take an action, go to the store, go to this place. I can't tell you how many people have come to the Lighthouse bookstore and come down and sat before me and I've said, what can I help you with today? And they say, I have no idea. I just really felt like I had to come down here.
Yeah.
So
I love that. But it's all open, isn't it? It's like, what's going to come through? There's a message for you.
Right.
You should mention, because people have come to see you, right? People that have found you on my channel and found you on your show, they've actually come down to see you. Mention where you are so people can come find you.
I love it. Yeah, I've had some people say that, oh, I really liked you, and I went and looked at your website, and then I saw you were in Boulder, Colorado, and I was right here in Colorado too. So some of them have driven 3 hours to come out here and say hi.
Well, I've actually got quite a few clients in Colorado, so there you go. People can come find you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So neat. Like when you or when you talk to people over the phone for a while and you establish a friendship, and then they come see you, you're like, wow, I get to hug you, and I know, a lot that I don't remember, but there are, you know the resonance, and you know the feeling of the person, and you know their voice and things like that. But yeah, it's always exciting to see people in person.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, like any of you who are like, keep in mind too that people like Laura and I have, like, I mean, at the Lighthouse, I can get 10 to 20. I think the most people I've seen in one day were like 22. Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I'd be on the floor having a panic attack.
Right. And there's like, so typically though, I have usually between 6 to 15 every day.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then during the week, I might have like 4 or 5 readings a day. And that's for me, that's like a nice number. But you can imagine, then that's that many people every day. And then there's 10 or 15 on the weekends. So we see a lot of people. So unless you talk to us on a regular basis and actually have an ongoing relationship with us, I mean, I have some people who come into me every week for guidance, or they come like some couples come every few months to see how they're doing and things like that, and to get some to how to like further or deepen their intimacy and things like that. So if you have an ongoing relationship, it's so much easier to remember that person. But I'll say, I came to you a year ago. Remember that my twin was this, and this? And I'm like, even a month ago or a week ago, I'm like, but sometimes with the specifics, they'll remind me of like certain things that kind of stand out, and I'll go, oh yeah, I don't remember the whole thing, but I remember hearing that. That was awesome,
Yeah. I think we're not supposed to remember everything, because if we did, we would have so much. I mean, I'm already quite forgetful, because it's just how I am. It's just with the energy that I work with, I have to let things go. If we carried everyone else's stuff with us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If I see someone's face, then I'll be like, I know you. And and it will show me like, oh yeah, I remember you saying about this, and I remember that. And sometimes they'll say to me, I'm surprised you remember it. And I'm like, yeah, I am as well. But obviously there's a reason why some memories have to come back. But like if it's a name or something, if someone has emailed me and it's their name and they go, do you remember me? I'm like, I don't. But it's not personal at all. It's just, we're not supposed, if I think it was Amanda that taught me that. I was like, she said, you're not supposed to remember all that stuff because it's too much. You've got to let stuff go. Because I felt quite bad when people were emailing me going, oh, do you remember, did you read for me this, I want to come back. I'm like, do you remember my situation? And I think, no, I don't remember your situation. But it's not personal.
Well, there was actually a report I just shared on my timeline a few weeks ago that talked about how it's actually a mark of intelligence to be forgetful.
So we're very intelligent. Because there's so much. It's like we need to relieve her from some of this amazing knowledge.
Well, somebody said that about Earth Angels once, years ago. They said that Earth Angels are like
forgetful.
When you're in charge, when you're like ahead of, like if you're in a room or a banquet room full of hundreds of people and you're in charge, Your job is to not pay attention to all the little details of everything going on. It's to keep an eye on the feel of the room and where something is needed and where you can kind of plug into a situation. So it looks like over here, there's these group of people who need liquids. They need drinks. They need, and there's these people over here, and you can kind of spot in the crowd there's a need that needs to be tended to over here. So we're the shepherds. Yeah, shepherds can't get weighed down by the mundane, by the dramas and by the little, by the details. Mm-hmm. You oversee everything to make sure that everybody's okay, and to see where they can best help and fit in what they can do. So it's kind of like that. If you look at it with that analogy. So yeah, it is a mark of intelligence, because it's like, what to ignore and what to pay attention to. Yeah. And you only hold on to those things that that are like super important to know. Yeah.
I think we can see it for other people as well. When we're like, you need to, because I resonate with the Earth Angel thing. I've been told from about 3 different people that I was an Earth Angel, and I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I actually had the book right next to me there. Earth Angels. And when I read it, I was like, damn it, that's actually me. I thought that makes so much, like, when you start to read something like that, you think, oh, it makes sense now as to why I am the way I am. But I can do that with other people. I can see if something's important, if it's not. If they're sort of saying to me, should I send this message, or I did this, and I'm like, it's not even a problem. I can see it's a small thing. There's no energy on it. But if it's a big and something that you need to focus on and pay attention to, then I can tell you that maybe that's where you want to go. But yeah, we see the bigger energies. Like if I'm exactly, the blueprint. It's like, if I'm stood in a room, I'm not going to think, right, that person's drinking beer, that person's drinking wine, he's obviously vegan because he's not eating that. And I'm not looking at that. I can feel like he's unhappy with his wife. She needs to stop speaking to that person. That woman there is pretending to be her friend, but actually she's slagging her off behind her back. That person needs to go leave that job. Like, that's how I see it. Like, I see the much grander. It's frustrating because you want to be like, right, you need to stop doing that, and you should probably not go there. And that woman behind, she's talking behind your back, just so that you know. Like, you want to go and tell everyone, but then it's no point, because people are not going to believe you and they're not going to do it, because people have free will. That's not what we're here for. But we're here to help the people that are ready to be helped. Mm-hmm. And you can feel that in an email, can't you? When someone emails you like, I really want your help. And you think, yeah, we're going to work together. And you get other people that you think, you're not quite ready yet. I can help you, but you're not ready to help yourself, so it's not time yet. So we can kind of see everything above. So maybe it's an angel thing. Well, I feel like I'm looking down at the earth, and I can see exactly what needs to happen.
Yes, and you can simplify things too, because I mean, I've in the twin flame journey, it tends to make you a little neurotic and codependent at times, and I'll have people who just are like shooting bullets of questions at me. Has he that? Will he this? But in the future, will he that? Will he end up doing this? And will he? And sometimes I'll just stop them and say, whoa, let's pull back here. You can just make this so simple. If he contacts you, open the door, see what he has to say. If it resonates with you, and it's kind-hearted, and it's honest, and it's with integrity, and it's authentic, welcome him in. Yeah. Don't feel the energy first. Yeah. Don't get all caught up in all the back and forth and all this, and then out here be taking care of yourself. That's it. Just make your best life. Be the happiest you can be, and mind your own business. Or when he goes to the door, hi, how you doing? If he starts acting like a player and he starts acting like, whatever, immature or not, then you can just say, hey, have a beautiful day. I love you. Bye. Come back another time. We'll see what happens, Exactly.
And in the meantime, get on with whatever you're doing. Like, that's what
You don't have to have all the answers lined up a year from now. What's every month and what's going to happen, that stuff is kind of fun. But even that stuff tends to change, because we jump timelines with just a realization, epiphany. That's something to realize too.
I wanted to talk about, because I get epiphanies, and I also jump timelines, and I didn't even realize I'm doing it. And I first started noticing it when I was talking to my mom about a year ago.
Whoa. What was that?
What even is that? I don't know. It sounds like someone's draining something, but all there is there is a mirror and a window. It's really weird. Maybe it was one of my candles. I don't know what that was. Yeah, I noticed it a year ago when I was talking to my mum. She was holding her cup of coffee like this, and I was like, "Why is she not wearing her engagement ring?" And then I was like, "Because she's not engaged. Because she's single. She's not with anyone." I was like, "That was." I saw the ring clearly. I saw it, and I do that a lot. I'll be like, "Well, what?" I'll just switch into it. Even when I lose things. The other day, I lost my key. It's 444 on my oven right now. Like, get the word out, oven.
A Four of Wands just jumped in my head, by the way.
Huh?
Four of Wands just jumped in my head when you pointed to that.
Oh, nice.
And you're talking about engagement. That's funny.
See, yeah, I think, yeah, nothing is coincidence. Everything has a message behind it when we see it. Yeah, I lost my keys, and I was like, I know they're here because I remember putting them down, and I was like, I switched timelines again. I said, can you please bring me my keys? Yeah. And then they were literally next to me, and I was like, thank you. So I literally just jumped into a different timeline. And came back, bring me back to what I was in. Unless it's better, then I want to stay.
Yeah. And I think we're predicting like things that are to come in the future or anything like that.
Yeah.
It can change. It can change. And we are reading into probabilities, high levels of probabilities, depending on how predictable of a person you are. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, are you a highly evolving person? Are you continuously feeding yourself with new information? Then you're probably going to have a different future from day to day. So, but if you're a pretty stagnant, then that's, predictable what's going to happen a year from now. But
that's the problem with people like us. Like, we're so evolved and we're always learning, always wanting to learn, and we're always changing. I always say to people, if you don't like anything you hear in the reading, you can change it. Everything can be changed. But that's why I try not to give timelines, or, try not to go too far into the future, because everything changes all the time. And sometimes people, they know that, and so you can tell them, like, currently based on the energy, this is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
But other people, where you think, I know that if I tell you this, you're going to hang on to it. And if it doesn't happen because it's shifted, or if you tell them, you kind of play around, like, maybe if you tell them, you think, well, actually, you needed to learn a lesson in order to get to that place. But if I tell you, then you're not going to learn that lesson. So I have to just stay away, not say it. Else I'm going to ruin the plan for you. So we have quite a big responsibility as readers.
Yes, so true. Yeah, I just said that yesterday to somebody. I said, I want to tell you, but I can't. I said, you're going to have to figure this out for yourself. They want you to have built your confidence all along by listening to your intuition every step of the way. Mm-hmm. I could see the great future that he had in store, but I wanted, it was like the angels were like so giddy and excited. I wasn't going to ruin it for the angels by telling him what's going to happen. It's like, they wanted to see him take these baby steps, listening to his intuition, feeling really good about himself. And then at the end of the journey, feeling super confident that he had relied on his intuition the whole time and got to a very successful place as a result. So it just said, oh, you're going to do this, that, and the other thing, and then you're going to end up in this really great place. Then, I kind of would have ruined it. Like telling the movie, like telling the end of the movie doesn't make the experience of the movie as fun.
Exactly. You don't want to take that away from people. And I think people have to be really careful about who they get readings from, because I've had people come to me and go, oh, I had a reading from someone a year ago. It's actually made it, I'm now confused. And if you go to loads of different readers, they're going to be able to tap into different pockets that you carry. It's best to stick with one or two people that you really trust and just take what resonates. But I had someone recently who said, oh, I had a reading a year ago, and now I'm just confused, it's made it worse. And I just thought, well, you just need to be really careful because some people will just read the cards, and that's great. If it's just fun, it's like, this is what the cards say, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then you have people like us who literally, like, I go in and I feel the cards, I become the cards, and I become the energy of what's happening. So now they're showing me Joey and Friends when he gets into the map when he's in London. that's what they're showing me now, get into the energy. But so you have to be like, you have to make sure you resonate and get a reading for the right reasons. Like if you're desperate, you're like, I need answers, and you go to someone, you're probably going to end up attracting more of that energy, and you're going to leave feeling more desperate and more confused, right? Whereas if you're like, oh, I really, because most of the people I read for, they'll say to me, do you know what, that you're just confirming everything I already know. And I love hearing that, because I'm like, yeah, then you're okay. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. And it's just a confirmation, and it's like a celebration of like, yes, you know this already, it's happening, keep going. Whereas if you're quite desperate and you're like, I need help, then you tend to end up feeling like that even when the reading's over, because you're looking for something outside of yourself for confirmation that everything's going to be okay, when actually maybe everything is going to be okay, but there's work that needs to be done. And some readers don't always tell you that. They just say, oh, it's going to be fine, don't worry. Whereas for me, I'm like, well, you need to do this, 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 and this to start, and then you're going to be able to push through a bit more. So maybe just being careful with who you choose to do readings with. I'm sure, I mean, this isn't for me personally, but I'm sure there's plenty of people on the journey when you first meet a twin flame, it's confusing, you want answers and you haven't got any money. It's like cheap reading, get this there, get like 20 quid reading, get that one, get that one, get that one, get that one, get that one. And it's like, you end up more confused. So tuning in with the people that you read, that you have reading for you as well, I think is important. Like feeling the energy of someone. If you want to get a reading, make sure you resonate with that person who's reading for you. I think that's important. I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that, but I feel like there's someone that will resonate with that.
Yeah, and I mean, this should be, or could be, I mean, especially for twin flames, it's a personal growth journey.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and there are a lot of readers that they're biased. And that's one thing you want to watch for too, is they'll bring their own personal life to it in a bad way, like in a way that, like, if they're jaded or they have a strong opinion about something, or if they have, like for me, it's like, I don't know if I should say this. Well, at this point in my journey, I feel like, and this could change tomorrow, I feel like I wouldn't choose my twin flame. I would choose my soulmate right now. And right now. But like I said, I'm open and I would change. But when I do readings, though, I am completely supportive. You know, if I was a biased reader, I would be like, oh, you know, and I'd be read. An example, you know. But there are a lot of people with some strong opinions out there that are not, like, they don't know how to get their own bias out of the way and read the energy purely.
Yeah, they project onto the cards.
Yes. So you gotta find out, like, who is truly, like, living by spirit or living in the moment, just by their feel. You know, that's one thing you can see too, is like before you order a reading, or even as you're having the reading or whatever, feel the person's feelings, like feel calmer around them. Do you feel good? Do you feel like relieved and like, oh, you know, like you've just ran and gotten a hug from your mom? And
yeah, you want to feel a sense of peace.
Yes.
Like you can tell them anything, you feel relaxed, you feel like you're in safe hands.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You should feel that way. And even before you get the reading and you're hearing them, and they I mean, there are some very entertaining readers on YouTube, and as entertaining as they are and as accurate as they seem, it's like if you tap into their energy or kind of sense how they are in their normal life or whatever, it's like you don't want someone who's all about drama. Their reading will also be all about drama. And some of them trick you by like, this could possibly happen in the future, that could possibly happen, you know, and they'll just, oh, I have to know. So, you know, it's like they'll try to kind of get you hooked on them to want to know more answers or whatnot. You really want to be with someone who empowers you to yourself and to figure things out for yourself and to listen to your own intuition. A mark of a good teacher, a mark of a good reader, I think, even, is that they really will help you to feel good about yourself.
Exactly. That's actually something that I struggled with at the beginning when I first started reading, because I could see all these readers on YouTube and they're like, this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen. And I was like, I didn't resonate with really reading like that. For me, it was more like healing, right? You have this within you. You have to deal with that. I could see that, you know, that's how I read. And for ages, I struggled with that because I was like, I want people to feel empowered. But then my ego was like, well, if they always feel empowered, Laura, then they're not going to come to you, are they? You're not going to have any work to do. But I was like, no, that doesn't feel right to me. And eventually my ego kind of dismissed it. And I was like, no, do you know what? I just want to teach people how to find whatever they have within here and bring it out. That's all I want to do. And I remember reading a book probably a year ago, and it said, a good spiritual teacher or guru or whatever you want to call them will teach you how to empower yourself. They'll give you the tools that you need. And that's why I do what I do, and I get people to do the work they do. And I'm doing things like my seminars, teaching people how to do what we're doing while we're doing this video, because we want people to be able to do that. And I struggled with that for ages. And now I'm like, no, actually, that's how it's supposed to be. We're here to get people to find their inner power. And that's, I think, not to like toot our own horns, but I think that's what makes a good reader or a good teacher, is that they want you to do that. If you go to a reader who's like, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and that's all they give you, you can't do anything with that. You can have relief for a moment, or you can be like, oh God, I want to change that. And then you're going to have to go back to them in a month's time.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't found any power. Whereas if you go to a reader that says, look, this is something that you're learning, keep learning it, do this, maybe read that, feel this, watch, like, then you're going to learn the tools.
Mm-hmm.
But you really do have to be careful with who you read, who you have readings from. And that's not to like disrespect anyone, but I just think people need to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
My battery's saying it's low, so you think that spirit saying, okay, and your cat's like asleep on you. It's like the energy's unwinding now.
His eyes are rolling back in his head as I'm petting him.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to? We've covered a lot. We've covered guides, angels, tarot readings, and even so.
Yeah. So those who are trying to learn to listen to their intuition right now, just trust it and act on it, and you'll get more and more verification. Build your confidence as you go, but you got to act on it, you know?
Yeah, you have to listen to it, and you have to do, it's law of attraction, isn't it? What you put your focus on, what you act on gets bigger.
Yeah. So, yay.
Hey, well, thank you everyone for joining us for this video. We hope that you were naked when you were watching it as well. Does that sound weird? Can I say that? Can I put that in? Oh, what we're going to do, if you guys have ideas for what you'd like Amy and I to talk about, then leave the comments below, because we're always for like talking about whatever people want to hear. So thank you very much everyone for joining us, and we will see you in the next video, right?
Yay. Bye guys.
Bye.